Hello everyone, Adam Jastrzorski here, and in this video I'm going to talk about the use of the BHNmath resources to support the new grade 9 de-streamed MTH1W curriculum. Now I could easily make an hour-long video talking about all of the stuff on the BHNmath website and how to use it, all the details and so on, but I won't do that here. I'm just going to keep it to the point, and once again I'm going to keep it focused on the MTH1W curriculum, although a lot of what you see is available for other courses too. Now before we move forward, I will just mention, especially for teachers that may be watching this video from other boards, everything that you see on the BHNmath website is available completely free of charge for you to use how you want anytime. I don't believe in keeping any of this stuff behind any type of wall. I mean, we're all on the same team here. I don't know why we would want to do that unless, of course, maybe you're overly proud or lazy, or perhaps you're just hiding copyrighted material. I don't know, but I'm not going to do that here. So please use this material as you see fit. And the only thing I ask is if you make it better, please send it back to me. I'd love to see it. All right, so let's get into the site here. I think the best way to kind of take a look at how to use this is to actually do a guided tour of the site. So the URL is bhnmath.ca, and that will take you to this homepage here. And as you can see, the site is designed for students, parents, and teachers. Now, at this point, most of the resources have been built for students and teachers. In the future, I plan to add more specifically for parents. But that being said, I'll mention that a lot of the resources for students and teachers are also available in the parent section, as they might find those resources useful in supporting children. There's some other stuff that you might want to take a look at on this page, newsletter and so on, but you can do that when you have time. I'm just going to click on teachers here, and that takes us to the teachers page. Now, I will mention that just about every page on the BHNmath site has these three icons at the top here. And you can see right now we're on this one, which represents the teacher page. But if you want to go to the corresponding parent or student page at any time, you can. So for example, if I click on the parent icon, that takes us to this same page, but it's the parent version. So there's a welcome parents video. There's no CEMC problem of the week link. And the student one is, again, it has kind of a similar look, but just some different content. So these three icons appear at the top of most pages, so you can switch and kind of see, what would a parent look at, what would a student look at. Of course, parents, students, and teachers can look at any of those pages at any time. There's nothing here that's password protected. Lord knows the last thing we need is more passwords. Okay, so on this teacher page here, there are some tools you might be interested in checking out when you get a minute. I designed these tools just to make my life easier when making resources, but I thought I'd put them up here just in case you might find them useful as well. I'd suggest if you are planning on using those, take a look at this video here called Downloading and Running the Tools. It kind of tells you how you can go about using them with the GeoGebra Classic 5, which is needed to run most of them. So I am going to click on Choose a Course here. I'll talk about the catalog and the Q&A Center a little bit later. If I click Choose a Course, we have all of the courses here from our Ontario Math curriculum. Some of them have content, some of them are not yet developed, and it's still a fairly new thing here, but I'm going to click on the MTH1W1 link. And that takes us here. So if you're going to bookmark a page kind of for, repeated visits for the MTH1W course, this is the one I recommend you bookmark. It's really kind of the one where you find the links to all the resources for this course. And these accordions do contain a bunch of things that you can click on. So up here we have some kind of prerequisite and early days of the course resources. These two sections here are where we find the resources for the actual course curriculum. Now, they're arranged in two different ways. One is by question and one is by topic. Now, the resources that we develop for the BHNmath site are really kind of focusing on this lessons by question arrangement. All right, if you look at the scope and sequence that we've developed, which I'll talk about in a minute, you'll see that they're arranged by these big kind of questions. I've got the lessons by topic here as well, really just for finding things. Like if you're looking for a particular topic and you're not sure which question to look in here, you might want to just check down here. I do not recommend using these headers here as like units in the course because I think in some cases, like looking here, it'd be way too big, and it would also be kind of really boring. Whereas the lessons by question, the units are being kind of designed to be a good length, as well as to have enough variety to keep things interesting. And it really does kind of align with the spiraled approach to teaching this course. There's a couple of other things down here as well. There's no resources here yet. I do plan to add those as the year goes on. And that's true with a lot of this stuff. I will continually be adding resources as the year goes on. And that's the truth. Starting, not even starting at the beginning of the year, we're already adding more and more in all the time. It's not just a hollow promise. That's going to be added in a timely manner. We'll leave the hollow promises to the Ministry of Education. But so take a look. You can kind of browse around. But the way it works is if I'm looking at this first unit, how do these compare? There's kind of right now all the lessons in that unit. I can click on an individual one, and that will take me right to that topic. It'll put it at the top of the page. But if I want to kind of get an idea of what's the whole unit all about, I'll just click View All here, and that takes me to this page. So this is where we have the actual resources for this course, and this is the teacher version of the page. Again, you can click between parents and students up here. And yeah, each block is essentially a lesson or a topic to be discussed. And you have the concepts listed here. We have teacher resources. These are resources that are essentially designed for the teaching of the material. So something that the teacher might use in the classroom as actual part of the lesson. Other resources and links here are other types of resources that the teacher might use to support the student learning. So practice applets, practice problems here, key questions here. I'll talk about that in a second. These resources, for the most part, are available in the parent section and student section as well. The ones in the teacher resources here are pretty much specific to teachers. For example, the Thinking Classroom lesson plan is not something that parents or students would really need. The open middle problems, again, are just in the teacher resources here because they'd probably likely be used in the classroom, not so much what the student would look up and use at home. What else can I tell you about this? Types of resources, there's a bunch of them. The key questions, like maybe 5 to 7 questions here that are designed to, have the student kind of check, do they get the big picture, which is the following equal to 3/7. So they can kind of work through and just make sure they get the big ideas here. Let's get one wrong here. A lot of time, when you get one wrong, there's some type of feedback to help you get on the right track. So those are called key questions. We have some interactive applets. These are all made using GeoGebra, and some of them, like this one here, are designed for practice. So what happens with this one, we'll make it full screen, is we're talking about reducing fractions, writing them in simplest form, and the student can enter in their answer and see if they got it right. Now say they messed it up. You can look at a full solution which is completely adapted to that particular problem, and there's thousands of randomizations in these. So yeah, it's a little bit like drill and kill, but use as you see fit, as needed. We have other applets too, which are more for kind of demonstration as opposed to practice. So this one here is one I just worked on yesterday. It's taking a second. There it is, and it's dealing with kind of the relationship between prisms and pyramids, and that relationship between volume, and where the volume of the pyramid is 1/3. So you can go in, kind of play around with the dimensions. You can view it from different angles and so on, and just something that might be handy for teaching that concept. The contest problems and the EQAO problems, as well as the open middle problems, are really the only material on the site that's not original. We've probably heard of open middle problems, great problems for kind of student engagement and thinking. EQAO problems are just past EQAO problems, a bunch of them. We'll continue updating those as the course goes on. And contest problems, those are the CEMC University of Waterloo contest problems, kind of the ones that correspond to the specific topic here. So those are available as documents. The check your understanding questions are the ones that seem to have kind of generated a lot of interest lately, and they are really just like textbook style questions that I've created here. Now, I've created these based on what I think the curriculum is expecting. Maybe I've done too much. Maybe I have not done enough. Maybe I haven't gone too far with them. Maybe I haven't gone far enough. I don't know, but the teacher can make the call as to what questions should be used in their class and so on. There's answers there as well. And my goal right now is to finish the check your understanding questions here for the entire course by the end of the first quadmester. I want to have them available to teachers to use, for the whole course in that first run through. So that's kind of where my priority is right now in terms of resource development. And then I'll go back through the course and develop more kind of interactive applets and so on. There is a Microsoft Word version for those available. That was requested by a few people. So the Word version is there. If you want to download that and edit it, please go ahead and do so. Just keep in mind all of the math notation in those files was done using the math type add-in for Microsoft Word. So you'll want to make sure you have that. So lots of resources there. What is this little blue student link here? That I put there for a couple of reasons. One is if you want to quickly go to the student version of, say, just this topic, if you click that button, it'll take you right there. It puts it at the top of the page so you can kind of see what the student would see if they were browsing in the student section. But the other reason I put that there is, say you wanted to include this whole block in your, a link to this whole block in your LMS or D2L Brightspace, whatever you want to call it. You can just right-click this icon, copy that link, and paste it into your LMS, and then students will be able to click that and go right to the student version of this block. Okay, so that's how that works. I'm going to quickly go back to this page here, talk about some of the other stuff that is available. At the top here, we have the scope and sequence, which is kind of the details of the units, arranged again by big question and color coded. We have the expectations listed, some additional notes as well, and a direct link to the BHNmath resources. Everything is filterable, if that's a word. So if I was looking for just the unit on how are things changing, if I just start typing in how are things changing, it filters that, so I can just look at that unit. And of course the link here will take you right to that section. So kind of handy for planning. Again, we'll continue to develop that as the year goes on. What else can I tell you here? We have virtual manipulatives. That's just a link to the amazing Mathagon Polypad. And it's awesome. You have everything you could ever want here for virtual manipulatives and so on. If you haven't checked that out, I strongly recommend you do. So that's there for quick reference. Question and Answer Center link. This is the BHNmath Question and Answer Center where students can visit and ask questions and get a reply in a quick short amount of time. And they can also kind of browse some previously asked questions for that course. So this tends to build up quite a bit over the year, and we'll see what happens this year with this new course. Direct link to the course curriculum right there, and yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now with this. Now, one thing I do want to mention is a lot of pretty much almost all of the resources that I personally have developed for this site are not actual lessons. There are some interactive lessons, like check out the scientific notation one maybe. But I owe a huge amount of thanks to Rachel, Leah, and Dan in our board for creating these thinking classroom lesson plans, which they've kindly given me permission to post on the site. And these are awesome documents, and you go take a look at them. They are essentially lesson plans that align with the thinking classroom pedagogy. And you can see we have a lot of useful information on, kind of background and so on, as well as a bunch of different problems to create a problem string, which is a big part of the thinking classroom teaching, as well as some possible hints and extensions. They've put a ton of work into this. I'm super thankful to them for allowing me to post this on our BHNmath site, and I'll continue to do that. We'll develop them more as the year goes on. So think I'm running out of things to talk about without making this video super long. I'll mention that the catalog up here is kind of a handy way to find things if you're searching and you don't know where to look. Open up the catalog. All you have to do is pretty much start typing in what you're searching for. So if you're looking for something on fractions, start typing in fractions. You'll see a bunch of topics come up. If you want to keep it specific to the course, just type in the course code MTH1W and it filters it. You can then click on the student, parent, or teacher link to take you to that block there on the page. What else up top here? Just a little bit about the site and some contact information and so on. So that is the BHNmath site, and it will grow throughout the school year. And many thanks to everybody who's offered to contribute to this site, whether those are teachers within the Brant Haldeman Norfolk board or elsewhere. I mean, it's awesome. Everybody's been so great about sharing and so on. And I'm looking forward to incorporating some of that material into the site in the future as well. Of course, at any point, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a shout. You can always do so if you just click on the contact link here. You can just send me a message here. You can email me using regular email too. And if you want updates, subscribe to the mailing list, and we'll get updates to you regularly when the school year begins. So that is it. Next video we're going to talk about assessment in the MTH1W course, and after that we're going to talk about coding. And if you want to get a head start on coding, one thing to think about might be which language would you like to use. And I'm going to move forward, I think, with Python as the language of choice as opposed to Scratch, and I have several reasons for that, but I'll discuss them more in the future. So if you want to start looking at some languages, I check out some great resources out there on Python or Scratch, whatever you like, and we'll talk about that more in the future. So take care. Talk to you soon.